initial statement.
Thank you, Lascan Corla. Yesterday morning there was a devastating fire at Scoil Chaitríona Cailíní at Mask Avenue in Coolock. As a result, the school is now closed and around 200 pupils who attended the senior school have no school to go to. The junior school is also closed for the remainder of this week at least. The mood in Coolock, Artane and Harmonstown is one of absolute shock. Teachers and staff, parents and children are very upset and simply cannot believe what has happened. This school has been at the heart of the local community for nearly 60 years, and there is a huge loyalty to it in the area. Parents have been actively involved in fundraising for the school down through the years and in maintaining the gardens and so on. And the school also facilitates local charity events, as well as many other events and occasions. The area in question is an old, established Dublin community. Evidence of this was seen yesterday when local people rallied to the cause, as it were. St Paul's Youth Club and the Coolock Residents Association offered tea to all those affected by the fire yesterday morning. Yesterday, when I visited the school, I spoke to some of the staff and parents and would again like to extend my solidarity and support to the Principal, Imelda Whelan, to the Deputy Principal, Fiona Gormley, to the Board of Management of the school and to all those affected by the fire. A Garda investigation into the cause of the fire is now underway, and hopefully we will know the outcome of this investigation sooner rather than later. I would like to praise the Dublin Fire Brigade for their professionalism and bravery in bringing the fire under control as soon as possible. 6 units of the Dublin Fire Brigade fought the blaze and eventually put it out. Thankfully, nobody was injured yesterday. As a result of their efforts, the junior school was saved. It was the subject of water and smoke damage, and hopefully it can be up and running again very shortly. However, it has to be stated that there are reports that the efforts of the fire brigade were delayed due to a problem with poor water pressure in the area. Yesterday I met a resident who told me that the fire hydrant outside his house was not working and was in fact full of concrete. The area does experience poor water pressure generally on an ongoing basis. These issues will have to be examined by the Dublin City Council, Irish Water and the Dublin Fire Brigade. There is now an urgent need to find alternative accommodation for the teachers and pupils as soon as possible. Everyone in the area is very anxious about this. I acknowledge that you, Minister, and your officials visited the school yesterday, and I thank you for that. We need to get the junior school, which was damaged by water and smoke, as I said, we need to get that open quickly. Options for the senior school include temporary prefab accommodation on site. The school is a very large site and has the space for this. I'm just wondering what the planning requirements would be to put prefabs in place. Also, we need to look at availability of any spare capacity in other schools in the area. Minister, when you spoke to the parents yesterday, they told you that they want their children to continue their schooling in the immediate area, and I hope that can be done. I would also like to say that the damaged school building itself should be repaired and renovated without any unnecessary delay, and I hope that this process can commence almost immediately and that a contractor will be on site in the shortest possible time frame. So this is a resilient school community. Yes, it had a setback, but this can be overcome, and I do look forward to hearing the Minister's response and to see what progress has been made since you visited the school yesterday. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the Deputy for raising this matter, and it was good to meet you out there yesterday, and I know, along with the other Oireachtas members in that area, you want to see priority around this issue, and I am with you on that. For raising this matter, it gives me the opportunity to outline to the House steps been taken to ensure both Scoil Chaitríona Cailíní, because Scoil Chaitríona Cailíní schools reopen as quickly as possible following a fire early yesterday morning want to commend, like in similar fashion as the Deputy, the Principal Imelda Whelan and her Deputy Principal Fiona Gormley for their leadership on this issue. And I did hear very strong sentiments coming from the community that they're looking for a locally based solution. That's something that I pass on to my officials. Scoil Chaitríona Cailíní agus Scoil National Caitríona Cailíní are located on the same site at Mask Avenue, Coolock, Dublin 5. Scoil Naomh Caitríona Cailíní is a junior school and enrolls boys and girls from junior infants to first class. 236 pupils were enrolled in this school in September 2018, and the current staffing is principal, 13 mainstream teachers and 3 special education teaching posts. Scoil Chaitríona Cailíní is a senior girls' school and enrolls girls from 2nd class to 6th class. The enrolment in this school in September 2018 was 202 pupils and has a current staffing of principal, 9 mainstream teachers and 2.6 special education posts. Boys from the junior school are enrolled in the adjacent St Brendan's National School, which has not been impacted by the fire. All 3 schools participate in the delivering equality in school JESH programme. As the Deputy is aware, following a fire early yesterday morning, Scoil Chaitríona Senior National School was completely destroyed, and while Scoil Chaitríona Junior School was not damaged by the fire, it did suffer some minor water damage, and both schools will remain closed for the rest of this week. I visited Scoil Chaitríona Cailíní yesterday morning to see for myself the impact of the fire and to speak to the principal and school management. This is obviously a traumatic incident for all those connected to the school. My department will provide every assistance to the school community during this difficult time. The immediate focus is getting the schools back in operation as early as possible next week. I understand that a number of local schools have offered assistance in relation to helping the immediate accommodation needs of Scoil Chaitríona Senior School. Scoil Chaitríona Junior School, while not damaged by fires, suffered some minor water damage, and it will remain closed for the rest of the week and hopefully be in a position to open next week. The department had a senior official liaison with the principal and school management throughout yesterday, and this will continue for as long as necessary. A senior architect from my department was also out at the schools yesterday to assess the situation and met with the principals of both the senior and junior schools. I understand the school authorities are meeting today. I've had no feedback from that meeting today at this juncture, and will be updating parents and staff in the first instance on the accommodation arrangements proposed for next week. Once the school has reopened, my department will be in discussion with the school patron and Board of Management to explore all options available to address the school's accommodation needs pending the reinstatement of the destroyed building.
Deputy Haughey has 2 minutes.
Well, again, I'd like to thank the Minister for his response. I appreciate that this is an evolving situation and that meetings are taking place today, as the Minister said in his contribution there. But as I say, parents are very anxious about the situation and their children, and they do need more definite arrangements to be conveyed to them as soon as possible. So again, while I appreciate that discussions are ongoing and that various options are still under consideration, including the utilising of spare capacity in neighbouring schools, and I'd like to thank those schools for offering their assistance. The sooner we can have clarity on all of these issues, the better, because anybody here will know the inconvenience caused for parents in particular when their children are off school. Parents have work commitments and so on, various other commitments, and it's not good for the children themselves, whether they appreciate it or not, to be off school for too long. So, as I say, this was a devastating fire. There are a number of issues that need to be investigated. I know it's not the responsibility of the Minister, but the Garda investigation should be concluded as soon as possible. And the issues in relation to water pressure, which were carried in some of the media today, and which I heard about at first hand yesterday. Apparently there was a delay in getting adequate water supply to the school to deal with the fire, and that water had to be taken from the Malahide Road, which is a little bit further away. All these issues need to be looked at, but the sooner we can have clarity on this this outcome and the new arrangements to be put in place, the better. As I said, it is a resilient school community. It's had a setback, but where there's a will, there's a way. And Minister, we do need your practical help and support and the practical help and support of your officials in their discussions with the school authorities to ensure that the accommodation is provided as soon as possible and that the school itself is repaired and renovated in the shortest possible time frame. So normality for all concerned has to be restored as soon as possible.
Ministers, 2 minutes.
Okay, yeah, just to reiterate again and to re-emphasise and to agree with you, there's a time frame needed. There's an outline needed in terms of people making preparations and families making preparations as well. So look, we're hoping to be in a position that the junior school will be back next week. We're looking at all options in relation to temporary provision prior to the school being rebuilt again. And that will look at all options from prefabs to spare capacity in local schools. So everything's on the table. I don't want to highlight one over the other, but we need a common sense solution here as well. We certainly have an understanding that we need some sort of an outline that gives parents confidence that their sons and daughters will be back in the classroom. So we will keep the communication lines open, and as soon as we get any information update, that will be conveyed to the parents as well through the usual channels, which will be through the principal and their leadership at the school. But I just want, once again, finally, just say to everybody that's been involved from the emergency services right through to the Gardaí school community, when push comes to shove, and it showed, you used the word resilience in that particular community. When push came to shove yesterday, the community came together, and we have a duty now in the department to respond to the needs and demands of that community, and I'm happy to step up to the plate in that regard. So as soon as we have any direction or any information around what's going to happen now in the short term, not the medium to long term, in the short term, I'm happy to convey that back. Thank you.